Hey guys, Billiams Custom Bricks here, and back with another LEGO set review. And today I have with me Boba Fett's Throne Room. I was so hyped for this set. I love the figures, and I just can't wait. Let's just get into the review. So let's start off with the figures. In this set, we get a crazy 7 minifigures for a $100 set. Now this is awesome. I love this so much, and we get so many new unique characters, unique prints, new molds, and we just gotta head into it. I can't waste any time. This set is amazing. So first, I gotta start off with our classic Boba Fett. Now the only thing different with this Boba Fett, like the print is actually a little bit better. It's harder to see on this figure from the camera. It looks like the visor is definitely better. It's higher up on the helmet itself. It's hard to tell, but in person, it's definitely visible. And I think LEGO might be trying to get their quality control back in order, which is awesome. They've really been selling short on some of their figures, and the quality just hasn't been the same, especially with Mando. The same thing with his helmet, so hopefully in the future sets we see his visor rise up to more near the top of the helmet, so we can get that accuracy that we see on the boxes all the time. And next up we have Fennec Shand. Now this is a different Fennec Shand only because she comes with her hairpiece. And to be honest, at first, I did not like that they were reusing Mercari's hair. It still doesn't look that good from the front, but it's starting to grow on me a little bit. Just because while rewatching The Mandalorian and the Boba Fett, you can see that her hair is braided almost exactly like Mercari's hair, and this piece is definitely accurate to that. And I just think it's gonna just need to take us some time to get used to. So I say just give it time. The hairpiece isn't terrible, so we can work with it. I also don't see LEGO making her own hairpiece. They just don't like to do that sometimes, but then they'll do it for other figures, so there's a lot of inconsistencies. And if we get what we get, we just gotta go with it. Next up, we have the Gamorrean Guard. Now, we had one in the Rancor set and Jabba's Palace set. Both sets I have reviewed. Check those out on my channel. This one is different. I assumed so. I was hoping that we weren't going to just go for the same exact thing. The only thing that really came from those two sets into this one was the mold. The mold is exactly the same. The only difference is the print. There are some differences in the middle of the torso here and the buckle. That is the only difference with the headpiece. He comes with his axe, which we saw in Jabba's Palace as well. His hands and arms have changed, so those are different. And we got some nice leg prints. We did get some in Jabba's Palace and the Rancor Pit, but it wasn't this extensive, and I think this looks great. Next up, we have the big man himself, Bib Fortuna, or as I like to call him, Big Fortuna. I've been looking forward to this figure for a while. I had a feeling when I saw the post-credits scene of The Mandalorian, there was just no way LEGO wasn't going to make one of these, and they finally did, and I am so happy with it. And we can see that LEGO made a new print for his hairpiece, which is pretty nice, and it's very accurate to the scene. And I love to see that. I think it would have been pretty disappointing if LEGO just used the old one, because the piece wouldn't be big enough and wouldn't represent this figure well enough. He has his worried face that he has when Boba Fett comes into his palace at the end of Mandalorian Season 2. If we look at the torso, you can see he's got his coat and his armor piece here that we saw in the past figure. And we have some printing in the back. Nothing too crazy, but it's very representative of what we see of him at the end of The Mandalorian. And he also has his staff. And next we have the Thean Dancer. That's what the box says, but this character does have a name. I don't know why they ignored this person's name. I'm going to put this person's name right here, because I also forgot. But it would have been nice to have a named figure. But it's whatever. We have her, and she's pretty cool. We can see her in Return of the Jedi. She's one of the dancers in Max Rebo's band. We also see her with Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi as well, which I think is pretty cool. You can have these two reunite. And she comes with her pink hair, which if we take off, we can see her full face. and we can see her back face, which is an angry face. Her print is pretty nice. Again, nothing too crazy, but nothing too simple. Yeah, great addition to this set. Totally unexpected, but hey, what's one more figure? Next, we have the weak weight guard. Now, this is kind of cool because the last time we got a weak weight face was in one of the Clone Wars sets where they had the giant anime-looking eyes and they stared straight into your soul. And it's just nice to get a normal face for something like a weak way. We can see he comes with a gunmetal gray rifle. And if we look at the print, we can see his braids. Now, what's pretty cool is that the braids connect from the head print to the body print. So it's almost like you can't have the figure with no head and with just the head. You got to have both because they go together, which I think is pretty cool. And you can see that two of the braids do come across his shoulder. Another good addition to the set. And finally, my most anticipated figure of this lineup, the Quarren. Now, this guy is just called Quarren. He does have a name. Again, I'll put it right here because I don't remember it either. But finally, we got a Quarren. And what a great set to get him in. This head mold is just brilliant. I love how they have the little tusks, all the little tendrils coming down. And in the back, we have just this beautiful head mold. And what's interesting is that this is not a plastic. When I first saw this, I thought this was going to be a solid plastic like the arms and the body, but this is actually a rubber, much like Plo Koon. So kind of interesting. I didn't expect it at all to be like that, but I'm not angry at all. This head is amazing. The print is very, very accurate to Quarren's. And you can be expecting me to be buying so many of these guys. So many just Quarren heads so I can use them in whatever I want to use them. It's just such a cool figure. Anyways, enough gawking over the head. Let's take it off and look at the torso. Now, I believe this figure is loosely based off the named person I put on the screen a little while ago, just because his torso doesn't 100% match, but it's got that aesthetic from that character. You can see he's kind of got that sash going on like the Weak Way Guard and Grief Karga from the Mandalorian sets. Nothing too crazy about this torso and legs. To be fair, it's really all about the head. They finally made us a Quarren, and here it is. Now it's time to get onto the set that can actually fit in the frame, unlike the last Jabba's Palace. Now, when I said I absolutely could not wait for this set, I was kind of directing that towards the figures. Not saying that this set is not cool in its nature and its look, but it just doesn't give me that Jabba's Palace look. I guess it's not technically Jabba's Palace. I guess I would have liked to see a little bit more Jabba-esque look. I mean, the last set we got looked brilliant. The play features were just amazing. And the size of it was just crazy. I couldn't fit into camera, but this is so small and short, and I just wish that they just added an extra like block on just to give it that height at least, but maybe that would have risen the price. Either way, moving on, I'm going to go from left to right of the set, showing off all the play features and those sections, starting off with this little cantina pod. Now, I know not many people like this. Some people think it's an unnecessary add-on, and maybe they're right. Maybe they could have used these pieces to make it taller. But you know what? I'm not completely against this. I actually really like this little pod area. It's really reminiscent of back when we see Leia going to rescue Han Solo, and we see all those little aliens sleeping on the chairs and on the tables of those little sections like the cantina. In my personal opinion, it is a really nice add-on. I'm going to use Big Fortuna's staff as a pointer here. If we look in the back, we've got a cup piece. Now this is a cup piece that I don't think we've got in any other mold. Maybe like a few gold, but I've personally never seen it in a sort of silver, which is kind of cool to have. We've got these little seats, these dark red padded seats, which I think blend really nice with the tan and the gray. And if we look at the top, we can see this little barrel here. If we open it up, we have little thermal detonators. A very nice addition, seems we don't get many passed around nowadays, so it's nice to get a good group of those. Moving on, we've got the throne room. This is the main centerpiece, and might I just say, it looks very nice. For how small the roof is and how low down it is, it really does catch that essence of what we saw at the end of Mandalorian. Now, there's definitely a lot to unpack with this middle section. I wouldn't say they have added as much play features as they did with Jabba's palace, but I would say that they have added their few, and I think they are some pretty cool play features. Now, the first one that will stand out is the throne. You can actually pull this out, and behind it, just like Jabba's, there's a little compartment. And here you have two little blasters, and what I assume is supposed to be Beskar, because that is what we got for Beskar in the Forge. The throne itself has a pretty cool little plate feature in it. It reminiscence back to when Boba Fett dethroned Bib Fortuna at the end of Mandalorian Season 2. There's a little spot where you can place Bib. And when you want to dethrone him, you just flick this little lever forward. And he falls off.
And not to brag, but I think my sticker placement is spot on. I don't think anyone else could get any closer to this than LEGO themselves. So, just wanted to shove it in your face, I guess.
Definitely one of my main problems with this middle section is the roof. Not only does it not look that good, but it also doesn't come off. So that does make it a little bit harder to place figures inside the middle section. But there is one way we can do that, and that is by taking off the front section. Just like in the old Jabba's Palace, we have the front section capable of coming off to give us a sort of kitchen area. Here we can see some pots of glass on this little stovetop area. And if we move back to behind the throne, we can see this little crate with a few bones. What I assume are coming from these chicken legs. And if you rotate this little wheel here, you can rotate the chicken like rotisserie chicken right above this little stove. You can also see here this little snake guy. At first, when I saw the box and the fuzzy pictures from the leaks, I thought they were going to be flowers. I don't know what I was thinking. It's a desert. There wouldn't be any flowers. Turns out it was a snake, and I feel kind of dumb. Also to be noted, things on the throne. Another one of those silver glasses. What looks to be another seat. And one of those little popcorn pieces that we got in the old Jabba's Palace. There also seems to be a little seat here too. So if you want to sit everyone down for a little talk, there you go. There's plenty of seats. There's also Jabba's little smoker tool thing here. This is what we saw back in the palace, but it was a lot bigger. This looks a little bit smaller, so maybe this is more of a human-sized version of the one that we saw in the palace, but I can't be sure. That's just my theory of it. And last but not least, we have the tower. Now, this tower is significantly shorter than the past tower, which is kind of a bummer, but not too much of a bummer. I'm not too bummed about it. Some people are. I don't really care too much. It's a tower. Nonetheless, we got a door. That's all we really need. It is always nice to see more from LEGO, though. LEGO, if you're listening, you could put a little bit more effort. Just a little bit. And immediately I'm going to go right to the front where the main attraction is. We have the eye. Now this piece used to be a gold molded piece, and now it is a brown. It has a similar mechanic, and I will show you when we get to the inside where you can push it out. And it's nice to see this guy come back. We don't really know who it is who's talking, if it's the eye itself or someone controlling it. Disney has yet to confirm if it's a living thing or if it's a robot. I guess just let them keep their secrets. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal or anything. It's just, like one of the biggest mysteries in all of Star Wars if you're, like a fanatic about it. And just above that, we have the turret. We had a turret on the palace before. It was round and spun. The barrels of the blasters were also movable. This one just has a ball and socket joint, which you can move around, which I guess is basically just the same mechanic as before, just a little bit more flexible. And the last play feature we see in the front, which you, I guess, can also see in the back, is the door. The only problem with this door is that it takes a few pushes to keep up, though I don't think it is supposed to stay up. So kind of a big flaw with me. I was hoping to see something Lego would do to keep this thing up. One thing I figured out is if you push out the eye, it hits right here on this little piece here, and you can keep it held up that way. Don't recommend it though, because it could put some stress on the pieces. Moving on to the interior, we see we have a little control panel here for the door. And in addition to getting a new mold for the cups, we also got a new mold for the mugs. So you can see in there's a silver version of the red mug that we've gotten in so many different sets. It's cool to see variations come out of these pieces. Another play feature, which I don't quite understand the reason for, but it's another play feature nonetheless, is the stair pushing play feature. Basically, you just sit someone down on the stairs and you turn this little knob here and it just pushes them. Jeez. And as we can see, they added a second floor, just like they did with the last one. And we can see the pair of binoculars back for your Gamorrean guard. That way he can stand watch while Boba Fett enters the palace and kills your leader. I also wanted to mention that you can move the outer rooms just by simply detaching them from the throne room area. There are these little clips and hinges. You can hear that click. When you hear the click, it is connected. Then you can just move it however you want. Detaching them a little bit is how they advertise it on the box. But as a fan of the past Jabba's Palace, I like to keep the tower and the main room connected, just like we had back then. Another flaw with the outer design is that the hallway leading into the palace main room is open like this. So when you close the tower, there's still a slit here. And just a few bricks from Lego would have been enough to patch this up. I don't know why they didn't. But I also agree with some other people that the opening is also a little small. You can fit figures through, but it's a tight cramp, and it's nothing like the old palace. Also something I forgot to mention, there's a little crystal in this little box here right next to the opening. I don't know what it is. A kyber crystal, maybe Bib stole off of a dead Jedi. That's just speculation, but we're all asking that question. I know we are. I also want to address the rumors about the Bacta tank being able to be set up here and this being used as the floor. And I just gotta say, I don't know how much I agree with that one, just because Lego marketing a set with no floor sounds really dumb. And I just can't see Lego ever doing that, let alone make more molds for more Star Wars figures. I just don't think they would take that sort of risk, seeing how this is a $100 set. And if you don't have it, then there's no real reason to get that set. Of course, if it did come out, I would get it because now I have this set, but I just don't see any reason Lego would make it without a floor. But I'm not completely done with the Bacta tank attachment idea at all, because we also have these little clip pieces here. Now these could be for design. I know that Lego has a weird design set of going on with this roof altogether, but I'm not completely over the fact that these could be used in a expansion pack sort of deal with the back to tank. We do get these little grates here. I do wonder what they're for, whether it's just to let light in or just for the aesthetic effect. Whatever it is, I hope that this roof piece is not fully done. I hope they do an attachment or something like that, like maybe an add-on. But hey, this is Lego we're talking about. They're not always the best when it comes to these sort of things. So if you keep your expectations low with Lego, you won't be disappointed. I'm all for fighting for bigger sets and better figures. It's just when things like this come out, there's no reason to get angry over them just because it's already said and done. There's nothing we can do about it. So just get the set or don't. You are entitled to do whatever you want to do.
But of course, pep talking Lego is definitely not all out of my range of things to do. Lego, if you want to do an attachment, please do it. I think many people would buy it just because they were so underwhelmed by the roof. You would get so much money. I know you don't listen to me, but just listen to me this one time.
And so that just about wraps up my review of Boba Fett's Throne Room. Now, this set was awesome to build. I love the experience. There's a lot of indicating pieces, a lot of smart building techniques on the side of Lego, and it had such a fun array of minifigures. Some new, some not. We got some great new prints. We got some great new play features like the flying stairs. We got our very first Lego quarren, and I would definitely recommend this set. Now, as you can see behind my little setup here, I have a box. It's been so long since I've had a box, and now I can finally test Lego again and see if they're accurate on their minifigure accuracy scale thing. Let's see. Actual size, my foot. So if you enjoyed this video, blast that like button, hit subscribe, and ding that notification bell when you want to be notified when I make my next video. And I will see you all in the next video.